Right, morning all. So we've had a fun weekend. Basically, this is probably the third time it's happened now. Third, maybe fourth. One, two, three. Fourth time it's happened now. We've had every window on this side of our shop had a brick through it. Someone's broken in over the course of 9 years. This little video is to show you or to tell you what to do when you've had a break-in and how to manage it. It seems like a really hard thing, and it's very emotional and all that kind of thing, because someone's invading your shop, which is not good. But what you need to realise is that most of the time this is just people on, opportunists. This guy in particular, he's done this at probably the worst time he could ever do it, because he was caught doing it and he was nicked within 5 minutes across the road up there somewhere, and obviously it's pretty obvious that he's done it, so therefore he's going to be in trouble and the law will take care of it. But what do you need to do as a salon owner? It seems like a little window, and believe it or not, this window alone, just that, which is probably not quite 1.5 meters by 1.20 meters, that as a piece of glass will probably be about £500–600 plus. But they're not the only bills you're going to get. So the first bill you're going to get is that little boarding there. Someone's basically come along in the middle of the night, and this time it was on a Good Friday at 12:20 at night. And that means that the guy's going to be charging, because it's really not just antisocial hours, but antisocial hours, if that makes sense. So that boarding bill alone is probably going to be about 400 quid. So far we're up to about £1,000. The next thing you've got to look at is the cleanup. Now, I've got a little video at the start of this to show you exactly what's happened, and literally there's been a brick through the window, but here's how you deal with it when it first happens and you get that call. And as a salon owner, first time you get it, it's like heartbreaking and it's really, really annoying. By the third time you get it, you're like, well, it happens. This is what's just a part of business, and it's just noise. So because it's just noise, there's no point in wasting any energy going, oh, you meanie here. There's just no point. So just go through the processes that I'm going to go through now. When you first get the call, come into your shop, whatever you do, do not touch anything. I mean anything. Like, come through the back door if you can. If you have to come through the front door, if you can put some gloves on when you do it, because you need to be sort of keeping it as it was when it happened, because the police, and they did in this situation, might want to get CSI involved, which is all very cool, like the scientists coming around. And literally this woman that came on Saturday morning, she brought a little kit so that she could get DNA off of a brick, which if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, I don't know, that's all beyond me. But the main thing is that you don't touch anything, because there's a lot of evidence to be gathered just from a brick, even though it's just that going through. She was a bit upset because she would have preferred not to have all this silicone on here, because no doubt there would have been fingerprints, but of course she can't get to them without destroying it, and that makes it no point in her doing it. So, and she can't get them from this side. The next thing you've got to do is you've got to make it safe. Now, I'm in the middle of Bristol, and this is a pretty sort of big complex in terms of like Broadmead itself, but down the road we've got Cabot Circus, who have regular security guards. And we have this sort of funny thing. We're not a landlord of the people who own Cabot's. They're not our landlords, but we have their security sort of lap round this corner, and we have a load of work that's done upstairs and sort of on the outside of the building by the same people who do it down there. So luckily and fortunately, and I'm quite grateful for it, otherwise I'd have been doing it in the middle of the night, we had them call these people to put the chipboard up. Now that chipboard is there for a reason. It's there to make it safe, and it's there to stop people from being able to get back in again. It's temporary, and please don't rely on it. So if you've got it and you see it and you're not happy with it, fix it a bit more, make it a bit more safe. But you've got to then call your glass people, and at the moment the glass people are like, well, is it an emergency? So that's my next call, is to ring the glass man, who knows us well, because there's quite a bit of glass that's been sort of fixed up or improved or replaced here over the years. So you're going to get a bill for the glass, you're going to get a bill for this thing here, and when you speak to the police, they'll ask you to do what's called a victims or a business impact statement. That business impact statement means, what impact does this have on your business? Now, we're going to add this up because the cops added it up on Saturday and it's about 3 grand, 3,200. So if we look at it, the glass is cost to replace and the wood. So that's about a grand already. He's broken a fairly vintage chair that's sort of sitting down there. It's worth about 350 quid and it's broken, so it goes on the statement. He's also cracked a load of my tiles, which, do I replace them because we don't have long in this building and we really would like to go into a nicer building that's a little bit different? So do I just fix them temporarily or do I replace them? And also, are there tiles available to replace them? And if you're ever tiling your floor, buy an extra packet, like at least one extra packet, because there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles here that have been cracked just from people dropping them on, because we're in a commercial premises that has a lot of foot traffic, and people drop things. It's not, you know, anything abnormal. So make sure you've got an extra packet. So I'm gonna have to go upstairs and hunt for that and see if I do, then I'll probably replace it. The other thing you've got to look at is, was anything taken? Now, in this case, he hasn't actually gained entry because well, if he got through that little hole there, then, you know, he really is Superman. But you need to check whether what's been taken, and you need to have your receipts for it. So your insurance will go through what's called an actuary statement, and they will actually check as to whether you are over or underinsured. And the one time this happened, it cost probably about £9,000 in stuff that went missing, and that was mainly electronics that we used in our college upstairs, like laptops, iPads, things like that. And when they came to do it, I had to go through and cost everything in the whole building as to what the replacement cost was. Now, we're insured for about 50k for everything in the building, which is probably a fairly standard insurance policy. However, I was only able to demonstrate with the list that I could put through of what was in the building that actually the replacement cost was only about 45k. So therefore we were 90% insured. So whatever the cost of what was nicked came to, we were only able to claim 90% of it, which is a really naughty trick that they use with insurance companies, but that is how they work. So expect not to get the complete replacement value unless you've got a replacement value insurance, and commercial insurance doesn't normally have that. The next thing you need to work out is whether you have a lease or a license. If you have a lease, it's quite possible your landlord's got to chip up for this. In this case, I don't think it is, because I'm responsible for the glass. Now, we've got lots of mirrors in our shops, and our policies generally have glass insurance with no, what do you call it when you do the insurance and you have, I can't think of what it is, I'm gonna have to cut this out. But that payment you make when you first claim your insurance, can't remember what it is, but anyway, I cut it out. So basically, it's possible that the insurance could do it. I am quite grateful. In fact, I am very, very fortunate that they didn't do that big sheet of glass, because that big sheet of glass will probably mean £10,000 in a new shop front, because it is massive, and I don't think they make them that big anymore. Certainly not that thin, because it's quite a thin one. And it's been there since the 70s, so if they did break it, it probably does need replacing, and hopefully that would be covered, but we don't know. So the things that you've got to do is make sure you count everything in the cost of actually cleaning it up. Now, we're in the middle of this COVID-19, and there is, you know, no need to do this urgently, because we won't open now for a couple of weeks, but you've got to look at your time, or the time of whoever's cleaning it up for you or with you. You've got to add that to the bills, and if you add that to the business impact statement, when you add all of these things up, they actually come to quite a lot of money. So if you're thinking of breaking into a shop, thinking it's not really going to harm them, yes it will, because I've got to find that money to be able to pay those bills before I can get it back from the insurance company. Now, if that's 3 grand, that's a lot of money. It's, you know, quite a hard thing to find sometimes. So make sure you've got all of the information. You will get what's called a crime reference number. Now, I didn't get this on Saturday because, you know, I was a bit chilled out and a bit too chilled out. But your crime reference number is needed to be able to go to your insurance, and also make sure that you really make it safe. There's no point in actually pulling that down now, leave that to the guys who replace the glass. That's what they're paid for. That's what they're coming to do, and that's what they will do. So make sure that you don't like go in and knock it. If you're moving anything around it, I mean, the amount of glass that's down here is quite a lot, even though it's a small thing. And it's all pretty sharp. It's not the safety glass with the laminate in it, which just stops everything. But don't panic. It's just noise. And by noise, I mean it's easily fixed. It does cost money, and it is annoying, but there's no point in going too far into the emotions with it, because it's just something that happens in business. So good luck. So here we are, new glass, and you know, these lads did a really good job. It looks smashing. Although you can expect when you get this stuff done is my little penny shelf, which is here. As you can see, it goes all the way up. Pretty cool idea. It's supposed to have a acrylic over the top, but we never got around to it because when can you find 5 minutes where there's no hair in a salon? Expect that they do stuff like this. They will sort of damage a few things because they need to sort of pull everything apart to be able to get the glass in. I'd also highly recommend, there's something I forgot to mention earlier, is that do not measure the glass yourself, because if you get the glass wrong in your measurement, even by a couple of millimeter, which is so easy to do, it means that you've got to then pay for another sheet of glass. And now there's tolerances in all of this. There's like a 5 mil either side, up and down, across and across. And you know, you will get a tolerance because it'll be kept in, especially on these old buildings, it's kept in behind these battens and these battens. But if your tolerance, so this batten here, I'll just show you a bit better. This batten here, and then another one up the top. Okay, so if you are doing this and you need it done, unless you're really super accurate, I'm horribly dyslexic and I can make really stupid mistakes like this very, very easily. So if anyone can come along and actually measure it for you, let them do it. Then it's on them. If they get it wrong and they don't do it right, or it doesn't fit, or it's slightly too big and you go to put it in and it cracks, it's all their problem. But if you measure it and then they do that and break the glass, you've got to pay for 2 sheets of glass. And they ain't cheap these days. Like this glass here is going to be around 550, 600 quid. In, you know, and whether that includes them installing it or not, I'm not sure, but that's up to the insurance company. So yeah, all done, all fixed. I've retiled my floor. So I fixed the cracked floor tiles. And while I'm at it, I've done a few more floor tiles in and around the shop. Make it all look good again. Lose your signage too, by the way. So if you're claiming, don't forget, these things hold your little strings or wires and then hold your acrylic signs. So you'll lose things like that, but that's what you do. So remember, if you got the insurance and you have had it broken into, don't touch anything until the police have come. Let the police do their thing, because you're going to contaminate like the site and they might get something out of that. Make sure you count the cost of everything. The cost, you know, include everything. Like I've got to repaint around the edges there, so you know that's all claimable on insurance. And also the time that you take to do it. If you can do it and you're handy and you do it yourself, brilliant. Go for it, because it's really easy to do. If you're not confident in doing it, get a professional to do it. But keep receipts. Make sure that you get that to your insurance company and you make the claim, etc., etc. And you know, this is quite a small claim in terms of insurance, and at the moment we're all waiting for that big claim because of the business interruption because of COVID. Well, that would be nice, but you know, these small claims don't normally hurt your insurance premiums. If you're doing it all the time, yeah, but like we've had 3, so we've had this one here, this one here, and we've had this one at the end, probably in the last 7-8 years. You know, so it's worth being insured, and it's easy to get it, you know, fixed when you've got that insurance in place. Otherwise, this would have cost me maybe £4,000. Instead, it's costing me £250 excess, and it's all fixed and sorted by people who are organising it for you. So there you go. Hit the like, subscribe, right in there. Tell me I'm full of shit. Don't care. Whatever. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.